This will be the third video in proving a limit for complex function using the definition. So we have here a rational complex function and different from the previous two, which are all linear and quadratic. So we're going to show that this is true. We have the limit of our function f of z is equivalent to 8 over z minus 3. As z approaches z sub 0, which is 7, is equal to your L, which is 2. So all of these entries will be used later on as part of our definition, because our definition needs us to say that the limit of our f of z as z approaches to your z sub 0 is equal to L if this would be satisfied. If for every epsilon greater than 0, there exists delta, no matter how small, greater than 0 as well, such that whenever or if this is true, that the absolute value or the distance from your z to your z sub 0 is greater than 0 but less than said delta, then your f of z, I mean the absolute value of a difference of the function of z, and your limit L is less than epsilon. So our goal is to show this to be true. So we have here our f of z here. Our L is here. But we need to show that that to be true if this is also satisfied using our z sub 0. So that is only true if there exists your certain delta. In short, delta is the first and foremost necessary or necessity in order for us to show this to be true. Now, for some references and some of our professors, they tend to show this direct proof. But for the purpose of parallelism with the previous two videos and the videos on proving limits under real numbers or in real analysis, let's use some scratch work. Okay, this scratch work will allow us to identify the representation for our delta here, because we will have your z sub 0. Let me use another color here so this would be clearly stated. Okay, because we need to show that this is z, your z sub 0 is 7 less than your delta. Okay, with this specification, we can show that this is true. This is less than your said epsilon. If the delta existing to be greater than 0, then it's already sure that our limit of our 8 over z minus 3 as z approaches 7 is really equal to 2. So to show the existence of our delta, let's work backwards. Let's target this first and let's find out what would be the correct representation for our delta. As mentioned, we will do some scratch work here, and don't be afraid to do that if you have time in your respective assessment portion. So you have here your f of z minus your L must be less than your epsilon. With our data here, our f of z is 8 minus z over z minus 3 must be minus your L, which is 2, must be less than epsilon. Okay, so we are going to show this form in the meantime so that delta would really exist. In short, our target is to come up with the absolute value of z minus 7 in this process. Okay, so what we could do here, let me go away first with our epsilon. This one, we'll really return to that later. Let's manipulate this absolute value notation. By LCD, you have z minus 3, you have 8 minus twice z minus 3. Okay, that's LCD. So by simplifying the numerator, you have 8 minus 2z, and then you have your plus 6, okay, all over z minus 3. This would be equivalent to negative 2z, and you have here plus 14 over z minus 3, minus 3. Take note, what we want is z minus 7 so that we can represent it with delta. Your numerator, you can factor here negative 2. So you have here z minus 7. So z minus 7 is already existing here over z minus 3. Okay? We would want this alone. So by the property of absolute value notation, you have here the absolute value of negative 2, the absolute value of z minus 7 over the absolute value of z minus 3. Okay? So all of this already good. This is less than epsilon. So this is actually delta. However, you have z minus 3 at the bottom. in order for us to really identify the correct process, we need to also represent this by a certain expression that would be possible to be manipulated together with absolute value of z minus 7. Again, this is already okay. That's our goal here. So delta is existing now. But z minus 3 should need to be represented as well as delta, so that we can, or other value, so that we can represent that with specific forms later on. So what we need to do here is, we would like this, right? So let me use here, insert some algebraic operations. So we let here, let's say delta be equal to 1. So since our delta is greater than the absolute value of z minus 7, so we'll have here z minus 7 is less than your delta, which is 1. Okay, this is now the first value that we have assumed for your delta. So please take note of that, because what we need is the existence of delta, right? So we let that to be equal to 1. Okay. But of course, we have another value later on, because as we apply the absolute value property, you will have your negative 1, z minus 7, and then 1. Okay, what's next here is actually, we would like to make this z minus 3, because that's what we lack here for our representation. So we add 4, and add 4. Let me use this portion here, because this might not be enough. So we have here z minus 3 now is less than 5, and you have here greater than 3. But take note, our z minus 3 is in the denominator. It's a reciprocal. So when reciprocating this, you will have here 1/3. You will be changing the operation 1 over z minus 3, and you have here greater than 1/5. Okay, that's the purpose here. And then later on, just simply rearranging them. 1/5 is less than 1 over z minus 3, and then you're less than 1/3 here. We're doing this because to match this one here, because we will have an expression already for z minus 7 where it's equal to 1, and then the other representation, less than 1 for your delta, and this one here. So we will take the absolute value of this, so you have the absolute value of your z minus 3 is less than 1/3. Okay, so that's the second form here. In short, I don't know if my spaces are enough, so hopefully this is enough. Let me move this up. Sorry for that. Let me move this up here. Okay, so hopefully the spaces here is enough for my proof, because we haven't started the proof yet. Take note, we haven't started the proof. We're just at our scratch work. Our goal is to have this one, and take note, our goal is for the absolute value of z minus 7 for this to be satisfied, and have some representation for delta. So you have here the absolute value of negative 2 is 2. Let's retain z minus 7. This is actually 1/3 as well, because it's already in the denominator. This is less than epsilon. So for our next representation for z minus 7, aside from this being less than 1, is actually less than 3 epsilon over 2. This is the second one. Okay, this is our first representation for delta, and this is for our delta using this first value as well. In short, our delta now is existing, and it could be the represented by the minimum of your 1, the item you tried to use here, and the other representation, which is the consequence of 1, being 3 epsilon over 2. Since delta is now existing, this will be our target. Take note, if you would like direct proof, you need to show this to be true, but since we had our scratch work, we had that, and we will be guided with the rest of the process. So let's now have our proof. Yes, this is the proof portion. Let epsilon be greater than 0 as the claim here. And since there exists delta, so we're going to assume now the value of our delta be the minimum of 1, and you have here thrice epsilon over 2. This is now good. So we have now, then, if this portion is 0, z minus z sub 0 must be less than delta. Or, we'll have our z sub 0 already in this form. So we'll have z minus 7 is less than delta. And delta could take this any these two values. Okay? We just want that because then we have, this is the proof by definition. We would like to show that the absolute value of f of z minus L must be less than epsilon using some manipulations. Okay, so our f of z is already 8, this one here, over z minus 3 minus your L, which is 2. Since we already have our scratch word, we can just combine automatically and proceed to this portion here. This is the final form using our scratch work. That's also the purpose of our scratch work. So you have here the absolute value of 2, which is 2. I can write it 2. You have here z minus 7, and you have here z minus 3. We need to show this to be less than epsilon. So take note that the absolute value of z minus 7 could be less than delta. And we have 2 values for delta. Let us use this second value, as this is also an implication using 1. So you have here less than 2. Your z minus 7 is actually 3 epsilon over 2. Okay? And then your absolute value of z minus 3 is indicated with this form here. That's also the reason why we had the scratch word. So 1/3. So you have here, of course, it's already in denominator, right? This is 1 over the absolute value of z minus 3. So that's actually equivalent to your 1/3, or less than 1/3. With all of this now, cancel. We have shown it to be less than epsilon. Hence, cutting all of the middle portions, just taking this, the absolute value of f of z minus L is less than epsilon, the item we would like to show using a definition. And we have arrived at that. Just need to have our conclusion. Since epsilon greater than 0 is arbitrary, then we conclude that the limit is true. What limit? The given. The limit of our complex function 8 over z minus 3 as z approaches to 7, okay, that's z, is equal to, what was that again? Equal to 2, right? Equal to 2. This is the proof of this item. Now again, we made this possible by our scratch work, claiming some values, manipulating that to get some expressions we need to return here to get the additional representation for z minus z sub 0, where our z sub 0 is 7, to get the representative value for delta, because that's what is denoted here. And then after that, with our scratch work, since we already know that delta exists, we can proceed with our proof using some notations as well in our scratch work to come up with our conclusion. In the next few videos, we will have to use now some limit theorems for complex functions and some illustrations and examples that will no longer use the definition but those limit theorems already. Thank you very much for watching.